Good afternoon, Professor Noel. I'm here to talk to you about international politics and what I think about it. International politics, it includes states, sovereign, unsovereign, non-state actors, and other interest parties that come together or may not come together depending on the status of the world, and they work together on problems and things, specifically regarding the UN and how the UN works together with all these different countries, putting them together in treaties, putting them together in peacemaking conferences and things like that, in order to essentially get things done. Without international relations, we wouldn't have a lot of things like allies, we wouldn't have a lot of things like treaties, trade, world news, things like that. International relations allows for, say, myself being a reporter, being able to go to places like Benghazi, Iran, places in conflict, third world countries, and being able to be there on foreign soil, and being able to do what I need to do and get my job done. It wouldn't allow for us to have a lot of the commodities that we've come to grow and love, like bananas, for instance, and other things that just can't be grown here in the soil that we have in the U.S. We have to get them from other places. And international relations, although it may not seem like an integral part of it, is very much a part of it, because you have to be able to go and say, yes, I need this, we have this, let's make a trade. It allows us to know who our friends are, our enemies are, and in times of crisis, it allows us to, work together and cooperate. Specifically looking towards World War I and World War II, which actually gave rise to the League of Nations, which then became the UN, and I learned a lot from this course. I think specifically when it comes to looking at where international relations fits in the course of history, a lot of things that I took for granted, or I guess I didn't think to analyze, or I didn't even think to question, were really shed to light through the course of looking through and attending your class. I've really found that a lot of history that I thought I knew, I maybe didn't know. And international relations, I thought was more of just finite to political landscape. You helped me to understand that it's not just that. It's used in things as agriculture, ecological endeavors. It's also used in law. It's also used in other facets of government. International relations is a very, very big part of society. Even, in fact, in order to have society, especially a globalized society, you definitely need international relations. And that can bring me to my final point. Do I feel that it has an importance today in modern history, an importance in our world as a whole? Yes. That answer is undoubtedly yes, and equivocally yes. International relations has transformed, it's grown over time, it's had to take up new and ultimately more interconnected responsibilities, but yes, it's very much a part of our society that we cannot do without, at least if we were to progress as the human race. Without international relations, we'd surely suffer, especially ecologically, seeing as one state by itself can't decide to, cut down on its carbon emissions, things like that. We have to get these things ratified and come together as a majority whole in order to work together to preserve, whatever is left of humanity. International relations goes as far as different organizations. Specifically examples, I'd say UNICEF, FEMA, things like that just work outside the spectrum of just one specific country, that do global things and help people in countries where normal people can't reach. I just can't go over to Africa every day or to India and say, yeah, I want to help out. But international relations allows for people who can, allows them to do it that much easier, that much better, that much smoother. Facing global issues, whether it be natural, man-made, or just straight up ethical, it goes to show that things can be done smoother with cooperation, with communication, and international relations is beautiful because it overbalances everything. It's just the human aspect of working together and cooperating. Translation is a very big part of that. Definitely looking at value of different regions, resources, people, and culture. Very big culture shock. The value of culture is another big part, and that's why I think international relations is going to be a timeless thing that it'll only get better as we move forward. And if not, then we'll perish. Thinking of any other questions that you asked. Oh, political movements and the vibrancy of them. So in between like the U.S. and U.K. and the USA, yes, definitely the vibrancy of things like that. It's like Brexit, for instance. That's something that is a very big part of like the global scope, because you have the UK trying to, Britain specifically trying to like leave, and that affects it has rippling effects all over the world. It reverberates. So that's something important that you always have to think about. And things like security, national security, international security, very important. I think right now Sweden is leading. And yes, Sweden is definitely on the Security Council for the UN, and that's very important because they're a leader in peace, they're a leader in progressiveness, especially feminist movements. Also, another thing that the international relations brings up is worldwide hurts, I would call them. Things that people can empathize over, such as economic instability, cultural decline, and all these other different problems that are facing that can be related to no matter what part of the country that you're in. You can work together, put your minds together as like entire countries, sovereign nations, and you can work together on those things. And that's what I learned from this class, and that's why I think international relations is a very, very important part of our world as we know it. And I'm lucky to have you as a professor.